Hi guys, it's Rob from Raw Balls. Busy day today. I've actually been up since 4 o'clock this morning, tearing down the snake room and cleaning, going through every single tub. After yesterday's video and the unexpected wildlife that showed itself on the video, I've been going through the snake room with a fine tooth comb. Just one of those things that you have to deal with. Ironic that we've been locked down for over a month here. Nobody's been in and out of the snake room, no new animals have come into the snake room, and yet wildlife still manages to find its way in here in the tropics. So I've been cleaning all day today, and I took some video to show you guys what protocols I use. As it turned out, the hatchling rack behind me was actually the only rack that was affected, but you must assume that every single rack is affected, so you clean them all. I've sprayed and cleaned underneath each of the racks, moved them out, cleaned underneath the racks, and got the vacuum in here and vacuumed underneath everywhere, and then I've been through each of the racks and each of the tubs. So let me show you what I did, what products I use. I'm still not convinced that these were actually mites. They move too quickly. They're like little beetles or weevils or something, and I couldn't actually find any that had burrowed in under the scales of the snake and were drinking blood. When I squished them, they had no blood inside them, and just a few of the hatchlings were affected. None of the adult snakes and none of the other racks were affected, although everything now is on paper. So we'll be following these strict protocols over the next couple of weeks just to make sure we've got this thing under control. But come along for the ride. One of those things that you have to deal with, and nobody wants to be your friend anymore, but it is just one of those things that you have to deal with when you keep snakes in the tropics. So let's take a look. So you got mites. What do? Well, the first thing you don't do is panic. Let's just take stock and see what we have to deal with. This is where your emergency kit comes in, and I'm going to show you the procedure that I follow in my snake room when I get bugs or mites or anything coming into the collection from outside. I live in the tropics, so it's a constant battle to keep bugs and creepy crawlies out of the snakes. And I think, as some of you saw in my last video, there was a mite crawled across my thumb. I'm not sure that was actually a snake mite that sucks blood, but definitely an unwelcome visitor. So definitely not a pandemic, but they need to go. So here's how I deal with that. The first thing is hand sanitizer. We're going to wash our hands between handling any of the snakes. And I have a tub of water here, just ordinary tap water, and I've got some anti-mite detergent, or I actually use these days just flea shampoo for cats. When you treat cats, the first thing they do is lick themselves all over, so this is definitely non-toxic, and you don't need a great deal of it. I'm just going to put one small drop into the tub, just one drop. One drop is all it takes. Just mix that up. And what that does is break the surface tension on the water, so when you bathe the snakes in it, the water can soak underneath the scales, and if there are any mites in there, that will drown the mites. The mites themselves don't have lungs, they don't breathe like we do. They breathe through tiny little holes in their bodies, and oxygen circulates through those tiny holes. So the objective here is to block those holes. We're going to drown them. So we're going to soak the snakes, and then we're going to treat the snakes with, I use several different products. This is Jurassic Mite, and this is dilute Jurassic Mite. So when I clean my tubs, I'm going to use this dilute Jurassic mite just to wet the tubs down with, and I'll put the paper over that as normal. And it is perfectly natural. You can spray it on the snakes. The directions here say you can apply it direct to the snakes, but I'm not actually going to use it directly on the snakes. I'm going to use this in their tubs, and this is mixed with a little bit of F10. I am actually going to treat the snakes. If I think I have a bad infection, I'll treat the snakes with, again, this is a product for cats. This is Frontline spray, and it is non-toxic. You can spray this direct onto the snakes. It has a very clinical smell and is slightly sticky, and that stickiness is what clogs up the pores on the mites' breathing tubes, and they actually suffocate. So I'm not going to spray it directly onto the snake. If I need to, I'll spray it onto my hands and then wipe the snake. The other thing that you can do is to use olive oil. This is a cold pressed extra virgin olive oil, and again, put some on your hands, rub it on your hands, and then just wipe that onto the body of the snake, and that also clogs the breathing tubes on the mites or any bugs that you have in there, and that will also kill them. Remember the life cycle of mites. They lay eggs, and it's very difficult to kill the eggs, so we need to kill the adult mites first and then retreat. When the eggs on the mites that are already on the snake, they'll lay their eggs in the tubs and stuff. We need to retreat it when those eggs hatch so that we kill all the baby mites as well. Okay, so let me take one of the snakes. And this is a pewter, so it's very easy to see if this snake has any mites, and I can actually see one crawling just on top of the snake there. Like I said, they seem to crawl around. These things are, and when you squash them there's no blood on them, so they don't appear to be sucking the blood of the snake, but they need to go. So the first thing I do is take the snake and just dump it in the water. Okay, it's not going to drown. Ball pythons are perfectly adept swimmers, so we put that on there like that, put the lid on, take the paper, and this is where my simple setups are very, very handy. And again, I can see a couple of little black dots in there, so we use our normal cleaning technique. Put the disinfectant in. And we wipe the tub. And this time I'm going to use the dilute Jurassic mite just to wet the tub down. Like that, to discourage any bugs that might be in there. I take my newspaper, and line the tub with the newspaper, and again I will respray it with the eucalyptus smelling Jurassic mite. So whatever those bugs are, we'll get rid of them that way. And very important, white paper. I'm going to use white paper on top, and the reason I use white paper is that if there are any bugs or anything on the snake, as we progress through this treatment, we'll be able to see it on the white paper. I'll just fold that size and line the tub with the white paper now. So any bugs in there we'll definitely be able to see. Clean the water bowl, make sure there's no bugs in the water bowl, and you can check the water bowl as well. If the snake's been soaking in the water bowl, typically you'll see mites in the water bowl. So we put the water bowl back in, and we take the snake, lift it out of the water, and because this is a white tub, It's actually very easy to see if there are any mites in the water, and I'm looking in here. I'll show you on the camera in a moment. There actually are no mites in there that I can see. Let me change my glasses to reading glasses, that will help. Well, definitely not an infestation because I don't see anything in the bottom there. So what we're going to do with this guy is we can either take our frontline spray, let's just put the snake down, spray it on our hands, and then just rub the frontline spray down the body of the snake, like so. And that's it, done. The tub is clean, the snake has been rubbed down with frontline spray, and we'll put it back in the rack. Let me just show you on the camera inside the water bowl. So you can see here there's a little something there, but definitely not tons and tons of mites. Okay, so we'll do another tub. This is a cinnamon that was shown on the video, and it does actually have little spots on the dorsal, so it's actually quite tough to see whether this guy looks pretty clean. Put him in for a quick soak in the water, that's all we need to do. Change the paper again in exactly the same way. Get my clean paper towel. This is no different to my normal daily cleaning routine, and in fact, whilst I'm trying to control this pandemic, I will be doing this on a daily basis. So again, the dilute Jurassic mite. Just wipe the tub down with that eucalyptus smelling stuff. Line my tub with newspaper and some more Jurassic mite, very dilute. Get my white paper so that I can see any bugs on the snakes when I come to clean again. So we're lining the tub with white paper. Clean the water bowl again as before. Get my snake, and this time I'm going to use olive oil. Again, just a tiny drop of olive oil on my hands. Take my snake, and just cover him with olive oil, which should block all the breathing tubes of any mites or anything he has on him. And you would see mites on your hands. If there are mites, and there is one right there. So that guy can now go back in the rack. Now I have been round and used some ordinary fly spray just underneath the racks. Not very much, just a gentle spray underneath the racks to catch anything that might be running around on the ground. We're using a white tabletop, so again I can see if there are any bugs and things crawling around there. Let me just show you the water where I was soaking the snakes again. So you can see there we may have one here, not sure what that is, that won't even squash, but you can see there's not a great deal of anything in the tubs there, so we don't have a massive infestation. We've definitely got something in there that is not welcome, so we'll continue. That's the protocol that I use. These are the products that I use and they're readily available. So olive oil just to coat your snakes, or frontline feline flea spray for cats, a little bit of flea shampoo again for cats, and I just put one drop of that into the water that I soak the snakes in just while I'm cleaning out their tubs. I'm using everything white here. I have been round and vacuumed around all the underside of all the tubs, and when I clean the tubs I will also wipe down the tubs and the racks themselves, just to make sure that there's nothing in the racks. So that's it. It's a pain in the butt. You have to do every single snake, and I will do every single snake pretty much every day until I see no further signs. Anybody that keeps snakes will have had mites at some stage. If they haven't, or they're fibbing to you, it happens. Don't panic. That's how you treat it. You work through your whole collection, and you have to repeat the treatment at regular intervals until you've killed every single mite. They do lay eggs, very difficult to kill the eggs, so when the new eggs hatch you have to repeat the treatment, make sure that you kill all the new hatched mites as well. Out here in the tropics we have mites, we have weevils, we have ants, we have all sorts of things, fruit flies. It's a constant battle, so I keep these products readily to hand. I use a preventative regime. I do soak my snakes at regular intervals and do check to see whether anything comes out in the soaking tub. They get treated on a regular basis just as a preventative measure. So there we go guys, that's the horrific topic of mites and how to deal with mites, and I need to get on and finish cleaning all these snakes. We'll see you next time. Okay guys, so I think I've got everything under control. Certainly my protocols are in place, and we will be following strict protocols in the snake room over the next couple of weeks. We'll be on social distancing and lockdown in here in the snake room. Those are the procedures that I follow. I hope you find it useful in the disastrous event that you too find yourself with an outbreak. Don't panic, there's a procedure for it. You just got to work your way through it. So that's it for now guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.